So, this is a good coaching topic to talk about, and it is about the fear of failure and likewise the fear of success. And I just happened to write a social post, which I will read. And every time I record these lives, I do it because the idea is in my head and the energy is there. So, and it's a theme that comes up. I always just talk about themes that I'm noticing between my groups when I'm working with clients or when I'm having discussions with friends. Why is it that we find it so much easier to pay attention to what could go wrong, what if it doesn't work, what's not working, what still needs to be done? And don't forget, what if I fail? I hear all of this, and it is important to acknowledge all of this. But there's always a flip side. What if this is right? What if it does work? What has gone well? What have I done? Rarely do we sit in the contrasting thoughts 50-50. Most often, we will sit in the 95% of feeling of 95% of all the things that could go wrong. But if you can tip the scales into 51%, just 1% more of what it could be right, that's all you need. So acknowledge everything that won't work out, but then focus your attention on the other possibility. What if it all worked out better than I imagined, if I took the leap and I went and found out? So I noticed this in the context of release, that so many people hesitate and don't release because what is available to them, which is why a lot of you join this group, is I don't want to live with this pain anymore. I desire to have this life, this relationship, this money, this wealth, and live this way, and I'm not right now. This is what I desire. And then all of a sudden, you're given this really valuable tool that I know that works. It doesn't work for everyone, but it works for a lot of people. And it really just does depend on timing, on where you're at. All of a sudden, you're given this amazing tool and this amazing possibility. And fear steps in, resistance steps in. And often the question is, but what if it doesn't work? Because if I don't try, then I don't have to find out if it was worth the effort, if it fails. So we instantly go and project, what if this doesn't work? Which really is a fear of, what if this works and what if I could have everything I desired? So this is a bit of coaching. This is talking a little bit about energetics. And I say, we're here to work on the first phase of discomfort, which is cleaning up the mess and processing your emotions. And that can be hard work. It can be uncomfortable work. This is where I say, get comfortable with discomfort. There's a whole lesson on the 2 phases of discomfort. Because we think that life is going to get easier when we have everything that we desire and when we no longer have our pain. When we move away, when someone's not in our life anymore, we think that things will get easier. But the energy of all the things we desire and success can be challenging to hold. There's the example of the people that win $1 million in lottery and then they just go and burn a hole in it and it's all gone and they're bankrupt and worse than when they were before because they don't know how to hold the energy of money. They think that my life will be sorted when I get $1 million. They have it and they burn it. And then there are other people who do really clever things with it because they've learned to play with the energy of money. That's an analogy. There are many different analogies that don't involve money either. So it can be, I just need to move countries. I need to get away and then everything will be fine. Oh, I go and move and everything just follows me. In a relationship, it can play out like, oh my gosh, this relationship is almost too good to be true. And this person is like, all right, sitting in all of my pain and all of my shit. But actually, this is too good. I'm going to break up with them before they break up with me. Because I don't want to find out and I don't want them to break up with me. So I'm going to jump in first and potentially sabotage something that could be so amazing because self-worth, etc. So many things, and it's all individual. But I just want to acknowledge and also speak to the fact that so many people will sit in the fear of failure and also sit in the fear of success, which really just leaves you where you are right now, which can just be a low level of discomfort, but what you've learned is to function in that low level of discomfort. And it is uncomfortable when you stretch yourself to grow and to live a life that you desire. And there are challenges that still come your way, but each of these challenges, for me now, they become fun, they become opportunities to see where can I grow. But it's not easy, and that's why I'm a big advocate for being coached myself and for others to delve into coaching. But you also have to want it and you have to feel ready and see the value in it. But it is completely normal to sit in these uncomfortable stages of, I don't know if I'm making progress. I don't know if I've gotten anything out of this. But then all of a sudden, there will come a point, and you don't know when it is, that you look back and go, oh my gosh, things are actually better. And this is where I say it is so important to actually acknowledge the things that have worked, the things that you have done, and, acknowledge the work that you still want to do, but not to focus so much on it. There's a good saying, like, where attention goes, energy flows. And it is just so much easier for us to get sucked into the negative and all the things that aren't working. So I make a real point of celebrating things, and that will be celebrating in groups and friends that I feel safe with, and writing down milestones. So I personally like to use a journal to write down the things that have gone well, not necessarily the things that haven't gone well. I save my pain for releases. I save my pain for coaching calls when I get coached. So success is big energy. And also, all the things that aren't going right and all of your pain points right now, however they manifest physically, mentally, behaviorally, or energetically, that's also big energy. But for some reason, we just get so used to functioning with that. And we keep ourselves in this holding pattern of the life that we really could have, which is all of the possibility. And sometimes release gets used as this gap, to bridge the gap, from I'm here in this pain, I desire this, but how can I bridge the gap? And yes, there are some people, the reason I keep on running this is because there are some amazing breakthroughs that happen for people, and I get to work with people years on, and I still get to hear amazing messages of how this impacted their life. And look, there have been people who are no longer in this physical world who have sat release before, but they have been so appreciative of this work. And I will work with anyone at any stage of life, because it's all about how can you live it to its mostest in this, with the time that you have got. But yeah, just to acknowledge, there will be people where sometimes this message it doesn't land. And it's not that it's not good information, it's just not for you right now. And my desire is that it will land for you sometime in the future. But if it's landing for you right now, then let's run with it. And your growth, your success, your view on failure is going to continue to evolve. Now, I'll share that for a very long time, I always had this feeling of some of the leaps that I would take. Oh, is this the thing that's going to fail? Now, I have to look back and go, there have never been any failures in my life. Maybe I'm optimistic. I do have an optimistic attitude. Maybe there have been things that haven't worked, but I've never viewed it as a failure. However, the interesting thing is I still get glimpses of what if this is going to fail? And I met with a clairvoyant. I've always wanted to have a clairvoyant, but always been very wary, and I trust that practitioners are going to come to me at the right time, right space. And one thing she said to me is, with such confidence, which is really nice, is don't even have that word in your vocabulary. So I reckon for about 8 months now, that hasn't come into my vocabulary. And then I was talking to a friend today about, potentially another little leap that I'm going to take, and it involves a purchase of a house. I'm not too sure about it. And I'm just constantly sitting here going, oh gosh, is this the thing that's going to fail? Or is this the thing that's going to just propel me into the next level? So I do be careful though that any of these kind of material decisions, I did a social post about this, that any material decisions that I make don't entangle with this world of my, what I call my soul expression. Yes, I do energetic exchanges for money for this work, but like my fear would be that shit, all of a sudden I've got to make money, and I don't want that to happen with this work that I do. So part of this is also fears because of the amount of clients that I saw in the osteo world who were incredibly stressed and working dead-end jobs that they hated because they had to pay a mortgage. I now know that going into the self-employed, into the online space, that it is limitless around money, and it's a completely different world. But yeah, you'll stay in something that's mildly or incredibly uncomfortable to pay off a mortgage. So this is just a story. I hope that helps. I still will have these things that I need to get coached on about fear of failure and fear of success. But more and more, I just go, right, thank you. That is possible that will happen. I don't ignore it. Bad things can happen. Things cannot work out. Things can fail. That is a reality. But how do I trust that I'm always going to find a way? And if I look at my track record, things have been pretty good. So I say thank you. Those thoughts can go away. I also do releases. Releases can help shift those thoughts and understand why they're there, because sometimes they can be implanted from things our family or things that people said to us in the past because they had limited belief systems. But then sometimes there's a time of making a decision, and there's a whole live on, sometimes you've done the releases and things still aren't working. You've got to make a decision. This is what I want to replace my thoughts with. So after you've done the releases and realize the same message comes through, then is a good time to start with the affirmations, the goal setting, the mantras. But those messages come from your releases, rather than me saying, I've got these super attractor cards here, and this one is the one that I pulled yesterday or this morning. Rather than me saying, oh, you should read out every day to yourself, directing my focus onto what's thriving creates more of what I want. Now, this means something to me because it's a card that I pulled, but it may mean nothing to you. So why I love releases is that you start to get divine messages, repeated messages, even though they are seemingly unrelated releases. And then these can become your individual mantras and affirmations, the messages of like, oh God, this is why I am living this painful lesson in all different shapes, ways, and forms, because I've got to listen to this message. So fear of success, fear of failure, they're both valid things, but try not to sit in the fear of failure, because there's a flip side to it, which is success. But success energy and getting everything that you desire in life. Desires is the right of the sacral chakra if we get into chakras, but getting everything that you desire in life is not easy energy to hold. And so many people will burn it down and sabotage it when they actually get a glimpse of it. So you do this deeper work so that you can hold the energy of more of the good stuff. All right, I hope that gives you some insight. This is more of a coaching topic and a little bit of a spin of energetics.